Hey guys, my name is Ken with Carolina Professional Repair, and I'm making this video. This is going to be a little bit of a breakdown and review of the Hercules 4.5 inch angle grinder cutoff discs. So, um, the reason why I made these was because I watched a video where somebody was testing angle grinders, and their angle grinder, their Ryobi, was shutting off constantly. And I know there's thermal overload and stuff like that, so I was kind of surprised when I saw that. I own Ryobi, and I've also used the cordless Milwaukee and DeWalt, which are by far superior. And then I use the corded Metabo, Milwaukee, and DeWalt, and then Chicago Professional or something. So I've used all of those. I use a lot of angle grinders, and I've never had any angle grinder shut off on me ever, except for the battery powered ones that have anti kickback. And so I was really wondering, like, what in the world's going on? And he actually tested a second Ryobi angle grinder to make sure he didn't have a lemon, and it was doing the same thing. So I figured it was probably bearing down on it a little bit too hard. But also, if you need to make a cut, you need to make a cut. It didn't seem like he was pushing, so I wasn't sure what was going on. Now, none of the other angle grinders, I think, shut off. So clearly, the Ryobi is a much weaker, lower, lighter duty angle grinder, but this is still surprising to me. So that brings me to how I wound up with these, is because I was just about out of my Diablo cutting discs, and I was like, well, I need to go on ahead and pick some up, and these were under $10 for like a pack of 10 or something, I think. I mean, it was a ridiculous price. I was like, I'll try them out. And so I decided to start using them, and I had some like welding jobs and things like that, and I was still using the leftovers of my Diablo, I think. And there was one job where I did actually decide to use this. I did notice it seemed to kind of cut weird. I was like, something's weird about it, and it cut weird. And then also I was losing chunks out of the edge, which then makes it bounce and vibrate. And I wasn't sure what was going on with that. Anyways, I decided to just kind of test and see what was going on, and I started using the Ryobi angle grinder, and it didn't even remotely make one of these cuts in this video. Not even close. So it doesn't even come close to it, and it starts shutting off. And I have a second battery angle grinder, and it did the same thing. So I was like, what's going on? So then I used my corded DeWalt, which is a 13 amp angle grinder, and that thing was bogging down. So what I wind up doing is I wind up testing just a whole bunch of them. I ran through all of these and I tested their performance. And I will say that the quality was just very, very inconsistent. And I don't know exactly what's going on. You probably have to send this out to a lab. But you can see some of the chipping that is happening here, and once it starts to chip, it gets worse. And I've used angle grinders long enough. If you're telling me I'm using it wrong, I mean, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not a testing lab. I'm just a professional who uses tools. And this happened to this disc so fast, and it started to chip. And honestly, I use chip discs like all the time. If you feed in kind of slow in the beginning, and then you can bear down on it, you can wear through to get rid of the chip. Because sometimes I'm out going somewhere and I'm doing something, and I've only got like 2 discs on me, and I chip a disc, and I'm like, screw it, man. I'm just going ahead and wear through it. I might even I think I've ground it on the concrete before to grind through a chip. So, but this happened, this was like 2 cuts, and this thing's just, absolutely destroyed. And what I noticed, this was very hard. There was a lot of vibration. It was very uncomfortable for my hands. One of these cut like butter, and I think it was because I started swapping out discs and seeing what was going on. One of them cut very quickly, very aggressive, and it cut smooth. and the vibration was fairly low, but the majority of them, for the most part, cut fairly slow, and they're very heavy on vibration. And what the vibration is it's not an out of balance vibration, but instead it feels like the cutting disc is very hard and you can't cut a proper bed. And so what happens is you're basically skipping on the surface while you're pressing down. It's difficult to cut a proper bed cut to begin to follow for the rest of your cut. And you'll notice that in one of these clips, you'll see a slip off, and that's because while I was running my line to cut my bed, it just wasn't biting. It wasn't biting, and so it skittered off. Which I believe that was actually one that cut faster. So, but anyway, so yeah, I'll go on ahead and you can watch the video, and you can watch. I have 3 timed cuts, and you'll get to see what's going on with them.